You saw the title. I'm here to help solve a puzzle that's been haunting Commander players for years. How do I build a deck that's fun to play against? We want everyone to have fun at the table, right? This deck exists to give choices to the players. It brings fun and interesting mechanics that impact everyone, a little chaos but not too much, and positive interactions between you and the rest of the players at the table. This deck has no crazy expensive cards in it. In total is around $130. I'll be showing you all card prices throughout the video, and doesn't need upgrades to function optimally. Worked really hard on this. So if you want to see the list or purchase any of it, which I would highly suggest doing, you can click the first link in the description. Without further ado, let's all have some fun with Commander, and I mean all of us. Enjoy! Mathas Fiend Seeker is 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black for a 3/3 legendary vampire with menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a bounty counter on target creature an opponent controls. For as long as that creature has a bounty counter on it, it has. When this creature dies, each opponent draws a card and gains 2 life. Mathas is often known as a prison commander of sorts. The Mardu color combination is great for prison cards, but that isn't what we're doing. Mathas in this deck is here for fun. He's an equal opportunity destroyer of souls. Bounty counters don't actually do anything by themselves, and you open up the opportunity to trigger card draw for many to everyone at the table. The goal with Mathas is to target creatures from all opponents, no matter how powerful or weak they are. Give all players the chance to draw extra cards and gain some life. By doing this, Mathas stays on the battlefield a long time, as he isn't ever really a threat by himself, and no one gets super salty by feeling ganged up on. It's the perfect commander for this. There are 3 steps to this fun-for-all plan. The first is card draw for everyone. Everyone loves drawing cards. Fond of Mythos, Howling Mind, Otherworld Atlas, and Temple Bell are feel-good cards by themselves. We're not playing Nekasar here, so drawing cards doesn't come with too much pain off the bat. These are artifacts most players will let stick around for a bit unless they feel threatened by you, which they won't, as that's the entire point of the deck. We're also running some more interesting card draw spells. Humble Defector is a cool card, drawing you cards, then basically making an alliance with someone else by giving them that same ability, then they can give it to someone else, so on and so forth. Magus of the Wheel is a free Wheel of Fortune for the rest of the table, again not playing Nekasar, so legit just a free Wheel of Fortune there. We're running Master of the Feast, great attacker, blocker, and defends his place on the battlefield by giving everyone cards on your turn. Saizon, Perverter of Truth, is a little painful, but in a format where life begins at 40, Saizon can be a fun card on the battlefield. Sign in Blood is always nice as a repeated trigger. Then the real fun begins. We're running Xantcha, Sleeper Agent, a stupidly fun commander herself. Xantcha fits perfectly in what we're trying to do. She's annoying for whoever you give it to, but hilarious for the rest of the table. And you can bet the player you give it to is going to attack wildly with a 5/5 very early in the game. That's just funny. We're running Truce, a seriously awesome white instant that lets everyone draw cards or gain life, or both. Nice way to help the table out when it needs it. Next, and this decision wasn't made lightly, we're running Monarch cards. Monarch is an interesting mechanic that isn't utilized nearly enough. Marchesa's Decree, Custody Lich, and Throne of the High City all introduce Monarch to the game, but the Mathas deck we're running can't keep the Monarch for long. We don't run Prison Enchantments or too many anti-attack cards, so we're going to give it up pretty quickly, and that's the plan. Let the Monarch travel around the table, let your friends get some experience with how it works. When the Monarch goes around the table, it's a great mechanic, trust me. Step 2 to everyone having fun is triggering our bounty counters for even more card draw and life gain. It isn't so much life gain that the game goes on forever, but it's enough to help someone who is down low stabilize a bit. Bounty Hunter synergizes with Mathas directly, placing bounty counters itself, which is a nice touch. Hunter of Eye Blight specifically targets creatures with counters, so everyone at the table knows what's going on there. Then we have a fun card in Stark of Wrath, allowing us to kill something, but then giving the reward of that same power to that creature's controller. Can't feel too bad about that. Another card that goes around the table. We're running Plague Crafter, Capital Punishment, and Crackling Doom as important sacrifice cards. In addition to just helping to control the board, these cards will allow players to decide if they want to get rid of their Xantcha or Humble Defector or Stark of Wrath. Giving them the option gives them power to decide their own fate. If in response they use these abilities, those decisions will fall on the next players. I think it's a cool bit of political synergy that doesn't necessarily make anyone feel too terrible. Now the main problem with giving everyone access to so many cards is that the board can get gigantic fast. Sometimes that's great, sometimes it isn't. If one person gets too far ahead with the cards they've drawn, it's up to us to balance the scales again. Blasphemous Act, Cleansing Nova, Hour of Revelation, Last One Standing, Route, and Coercive Portal. Board wipes can absolutely be unfun, but if used correctly, and in this deck in particular, they're just a stepping stone to more nonsense that everyone will enjoy. When you're playing this deck, only use these board wipes if you absolutely have to, basically if what's on the board is stopping everyone from having fun. With great power comes great responsibility, so use them wisely. Step 3 of our Fun for All plan is giving everything back to our opponents that we've taken. The difference between our Mathas deck and normal Mardu Prison decks is that our board wipes aren't supposed to end the game. They're supposed to set up something hilarious. We want everyone to enjoy this experience, so we're running ways to do that. Oath of Ghouls is a super cool card. Target the opponent with the least creatures in the graveyard, and then everyone else gets back stuff for free. Eventually that opponent has less than other players who keep getting stuff back, so then they get their stuff back. Good times all around. Same goes for Ill-Gotten Gains. In the late game, even with lots of card draw, players run out of cards, they just do. Ill-Gotten Gains might feel bad when it's cast, but you get whatever you want back from your yard. That's a good thing, especially if you aren't being punished by discard after you do it. Mathas doesn't do that. We just give them their stuff back, no hard feelings. Now this is where the fun goes nuclear. Magister of Worth is excellent and will be voting Grace pretty much every time, hoping the rest of the table wants to reanimate their entire graveyard as well. Pyrrhic Revival brings everything back for everyone, just a bit smaller and easier to destroy. Tempt with Immortality gives reanimation to everyone but lots to you, which will end up being used on cards that benefit everyone anyway, so there's nothing bad there. And then Twilight's Call is neat. You can cast it as an instant. Instant speed mass resurrection is just delightful. Players will probably enjoy that. Time to talk about the secret step 4, actually winning the game. It wouldn't be any fun if the entire deck existed just to help everyone else have fun and you just sit there. This deck wants to win the game, but it does it by doing things other players like, drawing cards, playing big creatures, resurrecting those creatures, you get what I mean. So I'll tell you a story in cards. We're running Infernal Genesis. It's great because it gives all players a bunch of 1/1s to work with, excellent blockers, and a nice consolation prize to being milled one. In addition to that card may be coming back later. We're running both Varchild and Varchild's War Riders, again creating more 1/1s, except these 1/1s can't really attack you, which is nice, but more tokens are again great for blocking and usually don't make players upset. Same with Alliance of Arms. This is a join forces card so everyone gets to pitch in and get lots of 1/1s, all fun so far. Yeah, we're running Massacre Worm. This card exists to be played only when you can win the game with its trigger. It enters the battlefield, all these tokens get -2/-2. Your opponents lose a bunch of life in the process and hopefully you win the game. Yes, the tokens trigger Massacre Worm that hit the graveyard as a state-based action but then disappear. Welcome to a win con. Our only other real win con is Spiteful Visions, but it isn't going to be used unless the game is going a bit longer than you want it to. This is a lone card draw tax. It's not going to decimate anyone, but it will progress the game, which is sometimes what's needed. Chaos is something a lot of players love in Commander, but having the right amount of chaos is important. Too much chaos and players can't really do anything. We don't want that. So we have a bit of chaos. Goblin Spy Master and Disrupt Decorum force combat, and while some players may not like it, it does add an interesting element to the game. Forces players to think differently than normal. There are only 2 of these cards, so force combat isn't going to take over the game, but it's definitely fun once in a while. We're also running Cruel Entertainment because, let's be honest, this is one of the most hilarious cards ever. Double Mindslaver is completely brilliant, and the best part about this card is that you can target any 2 players, keeping yourself totally out of it. This is a political choice, but you can maximize the fun by selecting 2 players who could do lots of crazy stuff on each other's turns. A card unlike any other really, Cruel Entertainment is a great addition to this strategy, and will give players an experience they normally wouldn't have. This deck is somewhat like a group hug deck, but with more subtlety than that. Oath of Lieges will help everyone get the amount and colored mana they need, a feel-good card that doesn't throw the game turns ahead like Collective Voyage or Tempt with Discovery. If a player starts dying too quickly, Arbiter of Null Ridge brings everything back to where it should be. We don't have a bunch of these effects in the deck because, again, not trying to make the game last forever. The Arbiter is here just in case someone gets crazy unlucky and players try to take them out way too early for them to have any fun. So far, the entire deck has been about helping everyone else have fun and progress throughout the game, but we're playing the game too and we need to help ourselves, at least sometimes. If we need to, Homeward Path gives us back Humble Defector, Stark of Wrath, and Xantcha if that's ever necessary. Harsh Mentor keeps crazy artifact decks in check. Teysa forces opponents to at least think a little bit before trying to take you down. After all, you want everyone to have fun, you are a part of everyone too. Also synergizes with our win condition Massacre Worm. Then Treasure Nabber's plain hilarious. We're going to use that extra mana to play things that are fun for the entire table, so it's fine that you take them. A little annoying for opponents, but they already tapped them anyways, so no real worry there. We're running Teriel, Reckoner of Souls. It's probably going to die quickly, but if it doesn't, it's a fun card for us. Reanimates something at random, makes for a fine blocker, some added power to our deck that lacks inherent creature power. Chaos Warp and D-Spark are in the deck to deal with giant nonsense attacking us. Crush Contraband, Rakdos Charm, and Return to Dust exist primarily to stop artifacts and enchantments that are stupid and that everyone hates. Treasury Thrall is a clunky creature that returns something we need to our hand and extorts, a nice way to progress the game. Boros Charm saves our permanents from destruction. Swiftfoot Boots protects Mathas in case other players don't actually want to have fun playing Magic the Gathering and would rather be mean. And Underworld Connection gives us more card draw if we need it. This is Commander, so we need some fixing and a ramp like most other strategies. Thaumatic Compass is fixing, that turns into Mazavith, very nice. Commander Sphere, Hedron Archive, Mardu Banner, Orzhov Locket, and Rakdos Locket all ramp, fix, and draw cards. Can't go wrong there, value throughout the game. Orzhov Signet for more ramp and fixing, and Sol Ring because we're playing Magic the Gathering and you want to get ahead on mana quickly to start forcing players to have fun. 37 lands in total. Bojuka Bog and Temple of the False God are here for what they're always here for, controlling graveyard-based decks and ramp respectively. We have a ton of budget fixing to work with, which means our mana is pretty much always consistent. Command Tower and Nomad Outpost are the most flexible. Boros Garrison, Orzhov Basilica, and Rakdos Cardinarium are the full suite of bounce lands. Battlefield Forge and Caves of Koios has pain lands if we need them. Bloodfell Caves, Scoured Barrens, and Windscarred Crag make up the full complement of gain lands, very nice. Guildgates, Boros, Orzhov, and Rakdos all here, as well as Dragonskull Summit, Temple of Silence for some low-key scry, Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse for the usual fetching, then 9 swamps, 4 plains, and 3 mountains to round it all out. I'm sure you've seen Mardu group slug decks before, and I'm sure you've seen decks people say are group hug that help the whole table, blah blah blah, but this deck is literally designed to make everyone at the table happy over the course of a game. There are fun creatures that help all players, fun spells that lead players to do things they wouldn't normally do, recursion for all, card draw for all, monarch, mind-slaving, voting, cooperation. There's a lot here, and while the Mardu color combination doesn't exactly scream fun stereotypically, Mathas is a great commander to build around if you want to have fun with your friends. If you ever think, I wish I could make a deck that my friends enjoyed playing against, this is worth a try. I promise you it's worth it. Be that guy at your game. Let your friends build up what they want, but add cool mechanics. Make it an experience for everyone. Please click the first link in the description if you're at all interested in something like this. We worked real hard on it. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below and we'll talk about it. I hope you've enjoyed this deck tech, and as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.